It's September. We did it again.
Wake me up when it ends.
You got it, buddy. Oh, yeah. Wait. No, this is actually important. Holy shit, it's September.
Oh!
It's
Fuck!
September.
Holy shit!
It's September.
Did it again!
Damn it.
Yeah, that's a fuck up.
September again, dude?
We did it again. Greetings, villains, vigilantes, heroes, and heroines.
You're tuned in to Project Supervillain. We're your hosts. I'm ArcDrifter.
I'm midnight late as fuck.
Yeah.
Midnight Wight, but yeah, we're late as fuck.
We're actually really sorry about that, guys, because we didn't mean for this to happen. We actually promised you guys last year that it wasn't going to happen, and it ended up happening again. And guess why?
COVID!
Yes, that's it. Because of COVID, we've been delayed multiple times, and we had to focus on other content because, you know, we got kind of obligations with our partners with Nest, and we had other videos that we had to make sure we got out this year. So anyways, we got this video ready to go here. We got all the lines written out, and we're going to hop into it.
So, if you like this kind of content and want to see more of it, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook, like on Twitter, all that fun stuff to make sure that you're keeping up to date with everything we upload.
So, as always, we don't do a typical top 10 here at Project Supervillain. We do something a little bit different. We do the top 10 game review, and that means on each game that we talk about, we're going to go a little bit more in depth than most people would on their channels.
That's right, it's a top 10 done the Project Supervillain way, and additionally, we will be adding in some awards this year because we just felt like we needed to give some more accolades to these games. They're just all so fucking wonderful.
And y'all can consider this a bit of a prequel to what's to come at the end of this year. We're planning on doing an award show based on the top games and the top EDM of the year, so y'all can look forward to that.
But that's enough of that talking business. We already do way too much of that already in our reviews. Without further ado, let's get to the games. Number 10, Valfaris. Metal in Space. That's all you really need to say to sum up this game. Steel Mantis, the developers of Slain Back from Hell, have teamed up with publisher Big Sugar to bring us Valfaris, an intense and brutal side-scrolling shoot-'em-up experience that's sure to leave your thumbs broken and blistered, but your spirits soaring with a sense of accomplishment.
The game draws heavy inspiration from other properties such as Warhammer 40k, Contra, and Metroid, most apparently. With a sprinkling of Souls-like mechanics and RPG elements, Valfaris manages to create an epic blend of action and platforming gameplay seldom seen in this era. Though punishing, its addicting and over-the-top gameplay will have you coming back death after death.
The game follows Therion, once a proud son of the great fortress of Valfaris. He chose to leave his home behind. During his absence, Valfaris disappeared from all galactic charts and had seemingly vanished from existence. However, without warning, it one day reappears, orbiting a dying sun and rife with darkness and corruption. Therion, upon discovering its reappearance, journeys home to uncover what has corrupted the self-contained paradise Valfaris once was.
As well, he intends to exact vengeance on his father, Vrol, for his many crimes. After smashing his wolf ship into the enemies awaiting him on the landing pad, Therion exits the bridge, and the game truly begins. And oh man, does it ever get so much right.
Being a side-scrolling action game, you'll be spending 97% of it jumping, slashing, swinging, and shooting. The platforming itself isn't too fancy or complex, but it's functional and consistent. It's used in innovative ways, especially in combat, which adds some much-appreciated flair to boss encounters and longer platforming gauntlets. Riding on the lava fish? Yeah, that was some serious shit, man. Memorable moments and segments are common in Valfaris, which is a testament to the care taken by the developers.
Going hand in hand with the excellent platforming to create such awesome moments is the fast, brutal, and unyielding combat Valfaris presents to us. Every single shot, slash, and impact sounds delightfully destructive and feels smashingly satisfying as the screen tremors with each strike. As you progress in the game, Therion will collect weapons to build an immensely powerful arsenal to aid him in his quest to destroy the corruption upon Valfaris. Beginning the game with a plasma pistol and his own personalized plasma sword, Therion will acquire a variety of other melee weapons and projectile sidearms, each of them having their own strengths, weaknesses, firing patterns, and effects.
Therian is also equipped with an energy shield that can be used to parry and repel attacks, sometimes even slinging projectiles back towards enemies. This will use up your energy gauge just below your health bar, but energy is easily replenished by killing enemies with melee attacks and picking up the orbs they drop. Heavy weapons can also be acquired, which will use your energy reserves as well, but the trade-off for the immense damage they cause is well worth it. All of your weapons can be upgraded using blood metal you find throughout each level. Blood metal is quite rare though, so think carefully about each upgrade before you commit. Blood metal can also be acquired by exchanging resurrection idols at certain consoles which appear near the end of each level.
Oh yeah, the resurrection idols. Those are important too. You will find the idols scattered across the levels, with some easier to acquire than others. Mainly, resurrection idols will be the resources you spend to activate checkpoints, or acquire blood metal, as we just mentioned. But the more of them you carry, the larger your health and energy pools will be, thus making Therian much more resilient. It boils down to a risk-reward system of being more well-equipped to deal with the challenges ahead, versus having a much closer checkpoint to respawn at should you die. It all comes together to create some of the most intense and compelling gameplay ever to be featured in a side-scroller.
On top of all of this, Valfaris is simply a gorgeous game. Its 16-bit pixel art is top tier and damn near flawless. Each section of the game is brimming with detail in both the artwork and level design, and nary a pixel is wasted on meaningless guff. Backdrops are used to great effect to put into perspective being within the colossal structure of the fortress, and you constantly feel it looming over you.
Fog and particles are rendered beautifully, creating scenes rich with atmosphere and lighting. The tone is absolutely fitting and consistent throughout each area, while still possessing its own identity. All the same, combat is graced with glorious explosions, plasma bolts, and lasers galore. As well, Valfaris is no slouch when it comes to blood and gore. Each encounter will no doubt be a spectacle of carnage as enemies fall to pieces and explode around you as you lay waste to them.
And that soundtrack. Oh my hot damn, that fucking soundtrack. This incredible score was recorded for the game by Kurt Victor Bryant, formerly a guitarist for Celtic Frost, and incredible barely does it justice. You have to hear it to experience how truly epic it is. You need to expose your eardrums to this. Ominous metal choirs combined with heavy shredding guitar riffs and expert percussive work create a driving audio force that makes you never want to stop moving. It perfectly reflects the savage nature of Valfaris and encapsulates the mood of the game. It's fucking vicious. It's hard for me to call Valfaris my favorite side-scroller of the year, with so many other awesome ones being released in 2019. I'd have to think on that one for a while personally, but it's a damn good one that definitely stands apart from many of the other ones that have released this past year. Without a doubt though, it is definitely among my top favorites now. It has a winning formula of addictive gameplay, satisfying sound design, top-tier combat, and a soundtrack that could bring you back from the dead. Don't sleep on this one, folks. Valfaris is calling you home.
Frank! Fuck me, pal! You suck, you moron.
Number 9. A Plague Tale: Innocence. A plague has struck the land. Civilization is in ruin, and one of the most effective ways of avoiding spread is by wearing a mask and not harassing the brave worker making minimum wage, whom is just doing their job. Oh shit, I'm explaining the current pandemic right now. My bad. If wearing a mask is too big of a struggle for you, then you won't like the prerequisites of avoiding death in Asobo Studios' version of Aquitaine, France. This isn't some trip to the grocery store either. Playing as Amicia de Rune, a teenage girl of royal descent, you'll soon understand why this plague is 10 times worse than the one we are currently going through. Well, there are many reasons. Very many reasons.
These reasons will literally tear you limb from limb until you are nothing but a skeleton. I'm talking about the rats. They aren't your typical cheese-eating bastards. These little fuckers are bloodthirsty and plague-ridden, so have fun with that. The other issue is the English Inquisition. They want one thing: your younger sibling, Hugo, for reasons you do not know yet. Perhaps it has something to do with that plague I was just talking about,
An excellent synchronization of genres is A Plague Tale, combining puzzle solving, stealth, and horror. Throughout the game, Amicia will have to risk life and limb to escape the Inquisition and the plague rats set on eating them alive. The one advantage you have is that you possess insane luck in regards to finding sources of light, which you learn early on the rats aren't too fond of. To keep yourself safe, you'll have to rely on stealth and your trusty slingshot. The stealth in this game is better than most, and the AI can be quite tricky to evade sometimes.
When worst comes to worst, however, you will have your trusty slingshot to back you up out of a tough spot, as, if used correctly, it will prove to be an incredibly efficient tool for mass genocide. Taking on the entire Inquisition by yourself could almost be possible if it weren't for one thing. You can't make supplies appear out of nowhere. You will find collectibles in the form of resources to craft ammo, among a plethora of other items that will help you build future weapons and gear.
You'll be able to upgrade your inventory, load speed, and more through finding materials, so make sure you keep an eye out because not all of these enemies will be able to be taken out with a simple rock to the head. In addition, the characters and dialogue are both endearing and memorable, so on top of fantastic gameplay, you've got a well-written story to look forward to, following Amicia and Hugo's tragic and enigmatic story. Not to mention the appreciation to care and detail the developers put into the world, divulging to us a story not only through epic visuals, but through little pieces of lore scattered throughout the map as well.
And this game wins the Ash Award, and this is what she had to say about it.
My game of the year is A Plague Tale, and all you gotta say is whip Mr. Piggums. I didn't want to feed you to those rats, but it was a good game.
Right! Let's move on. All in all, this game was incredible. The only real downside I can think of was I wish there was more to it. But that being said, it was a 10 to 12 hour game, which is an average length of gameplay. A Plague Tale may have flown under the radar for many, but those that did play it seemingly had a great time with it, including myself. So I don't give a rat's ass what your excuse is. Go try this game.
Oh shit! A rat!
Man, if he's acting like that,
There's a rat!
and he's only seen one rat,
The motherfucking rat!
you've got to imagine what if... Oh, shit!
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh rat! Oh!
Number 8. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. How does Call of Duty keep making it on these lists? Like, we don't even have faith in it, nor do we have faith in its publisher, Activision, with Activision being responsible for some of the largest controversies in gaming in the past few years, as well as being generally untrustworthy when it comes to their marketing and monetization practices. There were no expectations for this game or the series. Yet, it somehow has managed to not entirely disappoint with its past 2 entries. So here we are.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is the return to form many fans have been waiting for since the series entered a bit of a slump back in the early 2010s. It's funny to think that if we had been doing these lists back then, Modern Warfare still would have made the cut, just as this one has. Perhaps it has something to do with the price.
This is the part where I'm supposed to describe Call of Duty, but what can be said that hasn't already been said about it? As always, it's a military-style FPS, this time dropping us in a more contemporary setting, as the title implies. The game's campaign will take you across the globe, playing as multiple protagonists and featuring others which we've come to know from previous entries. And what the twist! This game is completely unrelated to the old Modern Warfare trilogy. Instead, it features an alternate timeline, rebooting the series from square one. And, as always, it includes the signature and highly addictive Call of Duty multiplayer, revamped for 2019 and feeling better than it ever has before.
Beginning with the campaign, this year's entry in the Call of Duty series was 100% better than last year's entry. You remember? The one that wasn't there? Why wasn't it there? What did you do with my campaign?
In all seriousness, aside from minor plot holes, this year offered the immersive experience we've been missing in Call of Duty for too long. Gone are the glowing neon bulbs, laser guns, and jetpacks galore, and there's not a single Tommy gun or Nazi in sight, replaced by the gritty and tactical combat style from older, more consistent entries. It helps you to stay enveloped in its thralls throughout your entire playthrough, and will confront you with your own morals as it covers the brutality and intensity, the true cost of war.
You'll be playing as a few different characters, mostly new ones, over the course of the game's single-player mode. Though the characters individually don't have any feats or skills that differentiate their gameplay, they show their diversity in both conduct and conviction through their actions, reactions, and surprisingly fleshed out backstories. These are the battle-hardened warriors that will lead you through the violence and mayhem of the war that will unfold around you.
Over the course of several missions, you will experience the conflicting and dissimilar perspectives of all of the game's protagonists, and their willingness to do the wrong things for the right reasons. With its captivating realism, attention to detail, and retention of the best elements of Call of Duty, the whole experience of Modern Warfare is something that is truly enrapturing for lovers of military shooters.
Almost all of these elements carry over into the multiplayer aspect of the game, which is arguably the meat and potatoes of all Call of Duty games. Obviously by now, Warzone, the free-to-play Call of Duty Battle Royale, has been released as well, but this is a list of games released in 2019, and thus we are reviewing it based on its content during that year.
Most of the content you'll find in Call of Duty is in the multiplayer area, with its many maps, modes, ranks, unlocks, emblems, call signs, weapons. You can see why some people can spend all of their time strictly in multiplayer. Unlike some previous titles, the multiplayer mode feels much more content-rich than it has in recent years, but in Modern Warfare, it actually seems like we may have gotten our money's worth this time. By now, everyone and their pet fish knows about Call of Duty multiplayer and the going-abouts of it. You shoot, you kill, you die, you rank up, and you die more, maybe prestige a little. Gotta pee? You gonna come a little, maybe?
In between said events, you'll be leveling up your equipment, i.e. your guns, as well as your overall rank, which will net you better gear and perks to equip in your loadouts. As you level up your weapons by using them or completing challenges with them, you will unlock a plethora of different attachments and customizations. These can be equipped to your own weapon to personalize your instruments of death to your playstyle and give each one its own unique appeal. Be wary not to overdo it though, as too many attachments can actually be a detriment to the smooth operation of your firearms.
Kill streaks are of course still present in the game, with many crowd pleasers returning such as the VTOL Jet, Chopper Gunner, as well as the ultimate game changer, the Nuke. All of the modes you would expect to be in a Call of Duty game by now are present here, from Team Deathmatch to Kill Confirmed, Capture the Flag, Domination, Headquarters, and Search and Destroy. Additionally, there are different weekly events featuring unique mashups of modes and playstyles, which adds a sense of longevity to the experience, with something new to look forward to each week. It also shows that Activision is becoming more aware of how to treat and support a multiplayer game. Yeah, right.
The Spec Ops mode is one we have only dabbled in lately, and despite a few missteps compared to its previous iterations, it was another facet of Modern Warfare that we all immensely enjoyed. Ain't nothing like the co-op action that Spec Ops provides, and soldiering through each of these grueling missions alongside your brothers is surely an experience you won't soon forget. This mode, although fun, wasn't a highlight for us, but we will humor you nonetheless. Essentially, Spec Ops is a series of game types that contain multiple objectives for you and your friends to complete, strewn across multiple areas in an engagement zone. These include operations, missions, and survival.
One of the things that unfortunately brought our rank of this game down was the exclusion of content, specifically the survival mode, which to this day is locked within Sony's environment for now. This does not benefit gamers in the least. Exclusion of content isn't about making the experience better for all players. It's about making profits and leaving others derelict of the full experience. Now then, operations are objective-based assignments that will have you slogging through innumerable enemies as you try desperately to complete set objectives in the midst of all-out war. Missions are exactly like classic Spec Ops mode from older entries in the Modern Warfare series.
Basically, if you've played Spec Ops in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, you'll kind of understand how these work already. Fundamentally, each mission will have a different objective, the catch being that you'll have a set inventory and certain missions will rely on using specific ordnance and tools to complete them. To sum up survival, you'll be confined to a location and will have to defend it from wave after wave of enemy soldiers and armor encroaching on your position. Between rounds, you'll be able to buy loadouts, equipment, and perks to aid you in your endeavors. But only on PS4!
The Green Ruler might have something to say about this one, as he's named it his Game of the Year, with the Green Ruler Award.
Between the immersive campaign, fast-paced multiplayer, and free-to-play Warzone, there's something for everybody in Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Well, thanks for that insight there, Green Ruler. Now you know.
The decision to bring back Captain Price and the boys was a great one, and my ears certainly perked up when I heard about their return. The fact that they changed the story adds a layer of unpredictability and joy about the fact that a whole new adventure is starting out with a team we all remember and a few new faces. They did an excellent job setting up the second game remake as well, though you'll need to play to know what I mean.
After so many missteps in the last few iterations of the franchise, it's refreshing to see a newer, more updated take on the classic Call of Duty formula. Everything from the campaign to each multiplayer mode and Spec Ops has something new to offer and a few surprises in store for the discerning fan who has been wanting more from Infinity Ward over the years. I for one am happy to see enough care and attention given to a series that I had long since given up hope on for ever seeing a good title ever again. But I sure as hell was pleasantly surprised by this, and I can only hope that we get more Call of Duty experiences of this caliber in the future.
This is 2020 ArcDrifter. The gigabytes are too much. They've added too many updates, and Warzone has taken over. Somebody call 911. I guess it always was 2020 ArcDrifter. I'm having a metaphysical crisis.
Assist your team at 8.
Number 7. Apex Legends. Over the past few years, the Battle Royale genre has grown and expanded to the point where even Tetris has a Battle Royale.
Yeah, motherfucking Tetris! But naturally, some of them were good and some were shit. However, we're not here to talk about the shitty ones. Respawn's large-scale elimination deathmatch won over the hearts of many by catering to not only one hot gaming trend, but two: hero shooters and Battle Royale. With the success of games like the now classic TF2, yes, it's been that long, Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege, we would see Respawn take advantage of the hero shooter trend as well.
Combining mechanics from said genre into the Battle Royale formula, Apex Legends would become one of the most prolific and revered Battle Royale games in recent years. Though it's been many a fortnight since its launch, its amalgamation of different styles and expertly crafted universes set it apart from other would-be contenders to the throne.
As you'd expect from a Battle Royale, it's about survival. 60 players will drop in teams of 3, at least in the standard mode. We'll talk about the other ones later. Just like other Battle Royales over the course of time, the boundaries of the map will close in. Players caught outside will be slowly killed by the hazards lingering just beyond the edge. The map will keep closing in until there is only one team left standing. Now that we've covered the basics of how pretty much every Battle Royale game works, we can move on to what makes this game in particular cool. Any Titanfall fans out there? If so, you'll be immediately familiar with the movement systems. Though there's no wall running, sliding and climbing feel as smooth as ever. Good on you, Respawn. Way to recognize what people like.
Anyways, to start off a match, you'll begin in an airplane, at which point you'll drop to the map below, with the ability to choose where you land. Once you land, the race is on to arm yourself with any number of deadly weapons scattered across the area. Across the area, either right on the ground or locked away within loot crates. Without those, all you can do is beat the shit out of people.
Domestic violence.
But, to bring it back to Titanfall, as soon as you pick up those guns, you'll notice the familiarity set in once again, as the majority of the arsenal is taken directly from Titanfall 2. Which, trust me, nobody complained about. Fun fact, the guys that worked on Apex and Titanfall are comprised of former Modern Warfare 2 developers, so these guys know guns and they know solid multiplayer.
Update! Apparently no one gives a shit, so fuck 'em!
Actually, don't fuck the guns. This is some nice hardware. Covering all the bases, we have several different varieties of handguns, SMGs, rifles, shotguns, and more.
Some of our personal favorites include the R99 SMG, the R301 Assault Rifle, the Triple Take Sniper Rifle, and we can't forget the big play of the game, the Peacekeeper Shotgun. Fucking love that thing. Along with the vast selection of weaponry we've already mentioned, there are also a few special weapons scattered around the competition grounds. Actually, wait, that got updated. Okay, wait, that got updated like a month ago, so I don't really know. This review is really...
Shit, I gotta rewrite that part!
No, this review was supposed to be out like half a year ago, so forgive me. When we were recording this, there was actually golden weapons scattered around the ground, but now they're mixed into the formula. So just never mind everything I'm saying right now. Just disregard it all.
Upgrades can be found for almost all weapons. For a majority of them, you'll be able to find extended mags, stocks, barrel stabilizers, and scopes, just to name a few. Those are just standard upgrades, and the game uses a color system to let you know what level it is. Level 1 upgrades will be gray, level 2 is blue, level 3 purple, and the strongest at level 4 is gold. This level system affects armor, helmets, and backpacks you will find as well. Each tier exponentially increases a stat based on which item has been acquired. Moving back into the gun upgrades, just want to mention quickly that you can also find augmentations.
Get the hell out of here, Jensen! They're actually called hop-up attachments, and they can significantly change the fire type of your weapon. For example, if you find a select fire receiver, it will work on weapons that have limited fire rate. The Prowler SMG starts off with burst fire, but with this attachment, it enables fully automatic fire, making the weapon much more effective.
One of the things that made this game amazing, and we've mentioned it before, is the hero class shooter aspect. Each character in the game not only has a well-written personality combined with a prominent voice actor, they also have amazing abilities that make each of them play vastly different from one another. There's quite a few characters now, so we won't explain all of them, but we'll give you a few examples. Each character has a tactical, passive, and ultimate ability, and the game gives you plenty of options for how to play. Each ability from each character has different cooldowns and obviously different effects.
For example, there are mobility-based heroes like Wraith who can phase out of reality for a few seconds, rendering her invulnerable while she escapes, and her ultimate move gives her the ability to make a teleportation portal that lasts a set period of time. Or maybe you'd like to play like a real survivor and hide in a building the whole game. Well, guess what? You can play as Caustic. He has the ability to throw poison traps down on the ground, which his passive allows him to walk freely through and see enemies easier. His ultimate gives him a really powerful poison grenade. Toxic gamers rejoice! Try out all the different heroes to truly get a feel for the different playstyles the game has to offer.
So, Apex Legends wins the Best Online Multiplayer Award. This game gets played a lot on our stream. Over the past year and a half that this game has been out, we've been playing it off and on, and it's currently my favorite battle royale on the market today. The lovable cast and buttery smooth mechanics keep me entertained wholeheartedly, and the constant updates to the game, albeit maps, characters, weaponry, really keep the game alive. All in all, Apex Legends stood out and carved its name into the metaphorical plaque of awesome battle royales.
Where you fucking go? Get the fuck outside! Yeah!
Number 6. My Friend Pedro. Schizophrenia is a serious illness that affects millions of people the world over. So if you have it right now, we recommend not listening to the voices, and if the banana starts talking, you should peel out of there. Actually, stick around, because this game is fucking cool.
My Friend Pedro is a talking banana. It's also the title of the game, and what an epic game it is. Developed by Dead Toast Entertainment and 22nd Century Toys LLC, as well as being published by one of our personal favorite studios, Devolver Digital, it was something we were instantly drawn to, as we adore the style, grace, and humor of the studio and their excellent productions. From the moment we saw its reveal at E3 2018, we couldn't wait to get our hands on it and dance around in a frenzy of blood, bullets, and, bananas. You know, like the tagline says. This side-scrolling shoot-'em-up platformer gave us some hardcore Matrix and Max Payne vibes throughout, and manages to blend platforming, parkour, and ballistics perfectly. In other words, expect an abundance of action-packed combat, comedy that's to die for, and bloody good fun.
So in My Friend Pedro, you may or may not have a mental illness. We don't know for sure, but the banana instructs you to murder people, so we don't know what else to think. Pedro himself is quite the enigma, and discovering the identity of yourself is just as compelling as every other aspect of playing this game. And this adventure will take you to many different and unique places. Settings are a strange thing to describe in this game. Each act is set in distinctive locations ranging from sewers to high-speed chases on the streets, and even the recesses of your own subconscious. All of these acts come complete with their own themes, music, enemies, bosses, and obstacles. These pieces fit perfectly together and form the masterpiece you're witnessing at this very moment. I mean, just watching the gameplay speaks for itself.
Throughout the experience, My Friend Pedro succeeds in making you feel like a nimble and dexterous badass, flipping your way in between a barrage of bullets in slow motion, while landing expertly placed shots from the back of a speeding skateboard. Not to mention all of the other nifty mechanics contained within the game. The main ones you will be using will be your parkour skills, dual lock-on, and bullet time. Parkour will be your main method of traversal in the precisely and skillfully crafted levels, as well as your defense against taking damage. Though simple in execution, it's satisfying as hell to pull off, and when you finally nail that perfect string of jumps, you're on top of the world.
There are also ropes and rails to swing from, so you're not just jumping around. Bullet time is pretty self-explanatory in this day and age. It's slow-mo. There, now you get it. But one mechanic that is fairly unique to this game is its dual lock-on system. When dual wielding, you can lock onto an enemy with one weapon, while you are able to freely aim with the other to take down other targets who pose a threat. But worry not, because you will be supplied with ample firepower for dealing with these wannabe assassins.
Starting off with a handgun, like in any self-respecting shooter, you will gradually climb your way up the weapon tiers as you reach bigger, better, and badder weapons with which to terminate your foes. The arsenal is pretty typical, but the weapons are all impactful, powerful, and effective, ranging from handguns, SMGs and assault rifles, up to heavy hitters like the sniper rifle and shotgun. Yes, the guns are amazing indeed. But there are plenty of other mechanics to make use of throughout the game, both for traversal and combat as well. To name a few, take a look at this here frying pan. You see that? You see it? You can shoot it! And you can keep shooting it! And look! Murder! Pan-fried murder! Medium rare!
As mentioned previously, skateboards are also available and add an extra layer of fun to areas of the map that are wide open, and you can even use the skateboard as a weapon itself. Another aspect that differentiates between the acts is some of the niche uses of vehicles and special items. One such example is the propeller hat you obtain in a later act, giving you the ability to float in midair and gently descend from great heights. It almost becomes a completely different game, and that's a common theme with the vehicles and special items. They add variety to the game in the way they alter its playstyle in the best ways possible.
This game, although short, clocking in at around 4 hours, is an absolutely amazing experience that you will find yourself playing for much longer than just the 4 hours. The fluidity and satisfaction you feel while playing is pure serotonin. It's like squeezing a really good stress ball. Or a titty. My friend Pedro will also be taking home a couple of awards this year, namely the Best Soundtrack and Best Side-Scroller of 2019 awards, as well as the Mark Lamarck Award. Here's what that guy had to say about it.
My award goes to my friend Pedro for its backflip and pan shooting, hell of a good time. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mark! Not only is this game fun on the first run, but the unlockables in this game are actually hilarious mods that alter the way the game plays. So when I finished this game, I jumped right back in again with a giant ass head, bullets on the slowest speed possible, and my player on the fastest speed possible. And it's that level of customization that really keeps this game fresh, even when you've played it tons of times.
When it comes to feeling like a bad motherfucker, there are only a handful of games that truly deliver on that promise. My friend Pedro is near the top of that list. With its excellent gunplay and slick moves, it's hard not to be reminded of other great franchises like Max Payne or even John Wick. God damn, wouldn't that be incredible? A John Wick game like My Friend Pedro? Someone get on it now. An absolute masterpiece from beginning to end, Devolver Digital has done it once again and given us another gem which, though a bit niche, I feel will be remembered for generations to come. If you're into action games or side-scrollers at all, you'd be bananas to miss this one. Number 5. Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry? Devil will cry. That's right. Dante and his devilish disciples are back and better than ever in the epic return to Devil May Cry proper. Yeah, no more of that angsty emo wannabe Devil Slayer bullshit. This is the high-octane, head-banging, sword-clashing, bullet-blasting Devil May Cry we've all come to know and love, brought into the modern era. Never has eviscerating the spawn of hell felt so visceral and sadistically satisfying. But don't take our word for it. Wait, no, that's exactly why we're here. Okay, take our word for it. Listen to us. Believe.
You won't have to believe too hard. The gameplay speaks for itself. The all-too-familiar cast of OG characters make their triumphant return in this entry. Nero, Virgil, Lady, Trish, and of course the man himself, Dante, are back to bring some personality to DMC once again. However, all of them have grown, aged, and changed since we last saw them. Sharper, more experienced, and deadlier than ever before, our old favorites bring with them a refreshing energy as well as plenty of new faces for you to fall in love with. All the same, there will be an ample deluge of new and old foes, bosses, and antagonists returning to wreak havoc on the world of Devil May Cry. It'll be up to you to put all of your skills to good use, to fight harder than you ever have before, to ensure that these infernal adversaries are banished back to hell, once and for all.
Set some time after the events of Devil May Cry 4, Devil May Cry 5 sees us rejoining the old crew of the famed Devil Hunter organization, the titular Devil May Cry. Nero has just begun to build his own branch of the organization, while Dante has gone into, retirement. Actually, he's broke. But the appearance of a powerful demon named Urizen has forced him, Dante, and the rest of the crew into action once more. Urizen intends to devour the demon fruit of the Clyphot, a tree from the underworld which gorges on the blood and souls of humans to create the fruit. Once eaten, those who consume it will receive power comparable to that of a god. With this obviously being ultra bad for humanity, the DMC gang sets out to destroy Urizen and the Clyphot and bring an end to the hellish apocalypse that has befallen Red Grave City.
Devil May Cry 5 brings us back to the roots of the series. Gameplay will feel almost identical to Devil May Cry 4, with a few upgrades to bring everything closer to the modern experiences we've come to expect with more recent action games. Like many of the previous entries, each stage in Devil May Cry 5 will feature a near-perfect blend of platforming and action sections, often combining the two together for some truly intense exploits. The new mechanics introduced in this game are also used to great effect in enhancing these already epic moments and creating opportunities for some seriously stylistic gameplay. Over the course of the story, you'll be able to play as 3 different characters, namely Nero, Dante, and V. Beginning with Nero, V and Dante will be unlocked as you progress further into the story, with only a select few missions restricting which characters you can choose.
Fun fact! Nero is way fucking cooler now. He returns bearing his signature weapons, the Red Queen and Blue Rose. His moveset is damn near identical to Devil May Cry 4, so if you've played it, you're gonna feel right at home here. However, Nero is now armed with a new weapon as well, the Devil Breaker Arm, which replaces his missing Devil Bringer, and it brings with it a multitude of new combat possibilities, depending on which variant you have equipped. The Overture, for example, damages enemies with deadly electric arcs, while the Punchline can be propelled from the joint, flying around the arena to strike enemies autonomously. Not to mention, every arm is equipped with a grappling function that can also snatch enemies. Overall, Nero has been given some serious upgrades in both personality and functionality.
V is undoubtedly the black sheep of the 3 characters, but we mean that in the best way possible. With mannerisms that are as enigmatic as his origins and powers, V is also one of the more intriguing characters to play as. Being a sort of conjurer, V is more suited to taking enemies on at a distance while controlling the 3 demons under his command. Shadow, a demon taking the form of a panther, can take out enemies at close range using deadly slashing and piercing attacks. Griffin, on the other hand, resembling a demonic falcon, excels at ranged combat using electricity-based attacks to harm and stagger V's foes.
When V's demonic power is full, he can also summon the shadowy golem known as Nightmare. This hulking behemoth crashes into the battlefield like a meteor before using its sheer mass and devastating energy attacks to lay waste to all resistance around. A truly destructive force, the Nightmare is V's ultimate power. V also possesses a book of poetry from which he reads to replenish his demonic power. Not just for the sake of his battle prowess, but to keep himself from withering away. Another mystery which you will uncover as you play through the story and learn more about the truth of V.
Finally, we have Dante. The legendary Devil Hunter himself is back to destroy the denizens of the underworld. Dante's full kit makes a return along with him, featuring Ebony and Ivory, his rapid-firing twin handguns, and the Devil Sword Sparta. However, these aren't the only weapons of his returning, with many other fan favorites from the first all the way to the 4th installment appearing here. There are even a few new surprises that you'll no doubt be pleased with. All of his styles are back as well: Royal Guard, Trickster, Gunslinger, and Swordmaster, along with all the moves to go with them, each style benefiting a different aspect of your arsenal. And who could forget the iconic Devil Trigger, Dante's ultimate power.
When activated, Dante will become much faster, deal more damage, and also regenerate lost health until the trigger depletes. Devil May Cry 5 takes this awesome power a step further with the new Sin Devil Trigger. While Dante does not regenerate health in this form, he is near impervious to attacks, cannot be staggered, and deals inconceivable amounts of damage to enemies, with only a few bosses able to stand up to his awesome might. Dante is very much the same Devil Hunter we're all familiar with, but everything new he brings to the table this time around really makes him feel like the legend he is. Each of these characters brings their own dynamics and strategies to the gameplay, and playing as any one of them can provide a vastly different experience.
Joining these 3 amigos is the cheeky Southern belle, Nico Goldstein. The adoptive granddaughter of Nell Goldstein, the legendary gunsmith and creator of Dante's pistols, her affinity for craftsmanship and smithing devil arms has made her an invaluable ally to the DMC crew, and she remains a loyal friend to Nero and the rest of the gang. It is through her, as well as the time statues, that the rest of the crew can upgrade their armaments, purchase items, and learn new skills using red orbs, the game's currency.
Lady and Trish also make a comeback with lethal weapons in tow and looks to match. The crew would never be truly complete without featuring these two femme fatales. Oh yeah, and Virgil's there too.
While all the characters are true stars of the show thanks to their personality and gameplay nuances, the cast of enemies is no less enthralling. Again, many familiar faces return in this entry, but of course they're mixed in with a plethora of never-before-seen foes and quite a few new bosses to take on. In fact, for one of the first times in a long time, the series features foes that are truly intimidating, that embody the very essence of impending doom, and you feel it.
All of this is brought to life on the RE engine in stunning detail. Characters and environments are more lifelike than they have ever been, all rendered in crispy HD. Though you may not even notice many of the details behind all of the pulse-pounding action, none have been spared. Each stage is given the same care and attention that you would see in more atmospheric games such as Resident Evil, and it's something that you can appreciate when it can make even the most surreal environments feel real and immersive.
And it's all backed by yet another savage and energetic soundtrack, capturing the spirit of the soundtrack in previous games, especially Devil May Cry 3. Each character is given their own unique theme, a sonic niche to match their style and personality perfectly in the midst of battle. From blasting electronic assaults on the ears to heavy metal guitar riffs underscoring all of the battles, you'll no doubt be jamming to these tunes long after you turn the game off, as they become seared into your mind.
Also, Devil May Cry 5 will be taking home the Best Hack and Slash Game Award. Nice.
As a major fan of hack and slash games and the Devil May Cry franchise, this is exactly what I was hoping for in a comeback to the main series of the games. And I know damn well there are plenty of other fans that were expecting the same, and they are no less pleased. Just a brief look online will reveal the unanimous praise this game has received since its launch. We're a bit late to the party, but we couldn't help but gush about this triumph. Now that we're done talking about it, go get a copy of this game. Any way you can. Don't care how, just get one. It's time to make some devils cry. Let's rock, baby!
This new arm is just one of those things you grab things with as a kid. What does it do though? It's a drill, of course it is. Is that all just like a giga drill break? I hope so, that'd be sick.
We're taking this fucking thing down.
Oh, you can't swear on my channel, you fuck. Oh.
Number 4. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. 2019 was a big year for Marvel, with the high-grossing Avengers Endgame movie being released last year as well. The hype to play games with characters such as Iron Man, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk would be very apparent as fans around the world surged and speculated at 2020's Avengers set to be released in September. That would be too long of a wait, however, as the people grew restless. After all, it had been a full year since Spider-Man came out, and we needed more.
Team Ninja surprised everyone with their sudden announcement of the upcoming release, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. However, this was a good surprise, and much like finding $20 in your couch, Ultimate Alliance was a nice treat. Unlike finding $20 in your couch, this surprise lasts, as it released huge DLC to keep fans playing, adding more characters, modes, and story, which we will touch on later.
Finally, we get some 4-player couch co-op, some much needed gameplay for when you've got some friends over. But not only does it provide a fantastic multiplayer experience both online and off, playing it solo can easily be just as fun, if not more, as you learn the in-depth combos and experiment with different team combinations. Speaking of the team, you'll have a big one, featuring Avengers to X-Men, the Defenders to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Almost every major Marvel character is present, along with a few lesser knowns that are fun to play regardless of popularity. The best part about this game is that most of these characters could be unlocked through the story, urging you to complete it to get most of that juicy roster. The story features a plethora of Marvel's greatest villains, and Team Ninja does an amazing job of managing screen time for each of them, despite the large number of characters to juggle.
Unlocking characters throughout the story feels fun and is spaced out well. You never feel bored playing the game because the sheer number of characters varies the gameplay. Each character offers a remarkably different moveset from one another. Every character has impactful and recognizable moves that can be used in conjunction with other heroes on the team. Marvel Ultimate Alliance strays away from its trademark pure isometric gameplay style to a more cinematic version of the isometric viewpoint, a hybrid between isometric and third person, but not quite fully either of them. This decision would help make the game less arcade-like and more story-driven. However, the limitations of the sole exclusivity on Nintendo Switch would impede the graphics in some small ways, preventing the game from being higher on the list.
Despite some small frame drops here and there, the game proved itself to be a competent and fun experience. Let's get back on topic, shall we? In the story mode, each character will level up the more you play them, meaning you can choose to put all your resources into your favorite heroes, or you can opt to spread it out evenly amongst the roster by playing all the characters. The game lets you have fun either way. You will also collect ISO 8 crystals and can use them to level up your characters as well. Later you will find more in-depth stat customization through different kinds of crystals with various effects. This game also offers a New Game Plus and added DLC like we said before. On top of the story mode, there are various other modes to enjoy as well, including Rift Trials, which were special boss fights that would prove to be more difficult than the story mode due to its extreme conditions that needed to be met with each challenge.
Once you finish with all of this content, you will no doubt want the DLC, which doesn't feel like it was missing from the main game, but a true and honorable example of DLC, adding extra modes such as Gauntlet Mode, and 14 extra characters after launch in 3 separate packs that were well worth the money. Along with the extra side quests and characters, you will see an expansion to the story, making the DLC almost a must, as it adds even more villains and side characters into the experience.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 ultimately deserves the Best Co-op Game of the Year award.
So, this was probably one of the single most fun and satisfying co-op experiences I've had this year, besides the orgy.
When did that happen?
You weren't there? The fuck was a Marvel-themed orgy? I'm actually shocked you weren't there. Beating the everlasting fuck out of enemies with your heavy combos and special moves is just as good as it was in all the previous titles. Spirit of the old school Marvel and X-Men beat-em-up games is alive and well here. There are a few flaws though, such as the camera angles that it chooses to subject you to. Most of them are fine, but some of them are horrendous and they completely block your view of whatever threat assails you, leaving you completely open to enemy attacks that you otherwise could have avoided. Like, camera! Fucking move!
It's a little more manageable in single-player mode, because you have control of the camera, but in multiplayer you aren't offered that same grace. That being said, even the flaws don't detract from what an amazingly fun experience this game is, especially with your friends. Yeah, Ultimate Alliance 3 is a terrific example of a fantastic couch co-op game. Tons of hours to sink in, dozens of team combinations, respectable DLC, which is something I don't say too often, and replayability to boot. Not to mention, you can have just as much fun playing multiplayer as you can in the solo mode. We need more games like this. Epic.
Close to home.
Remember a couple weeks ago, Andy, when Greg Miller tried to convince us that he thought a human was going to be in The Lion King?
I do remember that.
First off, that wasn't a try and convince you. That was a real thing that fucking happened. Hide the mangoes, here's Beast.
Hide the mangoes.
Number 3. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Hesitation is defeat. This is the mantra of Sekiro, and one you had best learn quickly if you hope to survive its twisted and lethal world. Set during the Sengoku era in medieval Japan, Shadows Die Twice follows the titular character, Sekiro. Fighting his way across the corrupted land of Ashina, he seeks to save his master, Lord Kuro, from those who would defile humanity using the Lord's immortal bloodline. Indeed, the pursuit of immortality has already corrupted many of the souls and places within the land, but Lord Genichiro, the ruler of Ashina, will stop at nothing to defend his beloved homeland, no matter the cost.
If that doesn't sound like a From Software story, first of all, you need to play more of their games. With an abundantly intriguing universe and classic From Software storytelling, the game's rich settings, characters, and lore are presented in the cryptic yet immaculately detailed fashion the studio has become famous for. This, in combination with the most furious combat in a Souls game to date, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is an intensely compelling and satisfying experience. It's sure to fill your dark soul with light, while still leaving you yearning for more of its awesomeness.
No doubt plenty of you watching right now have played or at least are familiar with Souls games. While you can expect much of the same styles of gameplay, Sekiro has remixed the elements that other Souls games have made famous, adapting them to its more action-oriented pace. There will still be plenty of dying, respawning, finding checkpoints, unlocking shortcuts, talking to NPCs, and exploration. But many changes have been made to the formula that suit the reworked gameplay and make for some of the most fun I personally have had in any video game I've played.
Let's talk about the combat. The biggest game changer in Sekiro is that stamina is no longer a thing, instead being replaced by posture. Attacking costs nothing, but as you guard against attacks, your posture meter will begin to fill. If it does, your guard will be broken, leaving you open to attacks that will decimate your hit points. Likewise though, enemies are also subject to posture, and if you can manage to knock them off balance, you can easily destroy their life bar with a killing blow. Parrying will be the most reliable way to avoid the penalties to your posture, as perfectly timed deflections can severely punish your enemy's posture while leaving yours unaffected.
Just don't let the enemies parry you, or you gonna suffer, boy. The posture meter will eventually cool down, but only once you have broken away from your foe's attacks or through the use of consumables. Never has melee combat in the game felt so intense and immersive, as you and the enemy trade blows, weave in and out of combat, slashing and dodging through viciously fast attacks, attempting to dominate one another. It's a wholly gripping ordeal that will surely test your reflexes, skills, and ability to adapt. More games need combat like Sekiro.
The next major addition is the Shinobi Prosthetic, a mechanical arm made of wood, bone, and metal. This replacement arm will become one of your most prolific weapons throughout the game, and many of its forms and attacks will benefit you in duels against a slew of different types of enemies. While you will be mainly using it as a grappling hook, the prosthetic has several weapons which can be fashioned for it. However, only 3 may be equipped at a time. For instance, the Shinobi Axe is able to crush shields and destroy the guard of many enemies as its heavy metal blade smashes down into their defenses. The Shinobi Flamethrower, on the other hand, is an excellent way to stun enemies who are weak to fire, allowing you precious moments to deal massive damage to their hit points. Combine with oil for optimal results. Want to throw some shit? The Shinobi Shuriken has got you covered, dealing minor range damage but able to interrupt and stun foes who are mid-attack, leaving them open to retaliation.
Of course, keep in mind that using the prosthetic will consume spirit emblems, which act as consumable ammunition for the Shinobi Fang. Spirit emblems must be collected in your travels or will be dropped by defeated foes. These are but a few of the many tricks up the left sleeve of Sekiro, and with so many different options to choose, all with their own upgrade trees, you'll no doubt find the combo of tools that's just right for you. And with the enemies being as relentless and intimidating as they are, you'll need to take advantage of everything you can in combat to ensure that you come out on top. 'Cause you're a fucking dom, bud.
Naturally, the prosthetic isn't the only thing you'll be able to upgrade in Sekiro. Sculptor's idols not only serve as checkpoints in the game, but also allow you to upgrade everything from Sekiro himself to his arsenal of weapons and techniques. As you play, you will unlock different fighting styles, each with their own skill trees, which can all be upgraded by spending skill points. As you unlock more skills, you'll gain access to impressive attack combos, as well as some other rather supernatural combat tactics that are known only to a select few.
Sekiro's physical attributes can also be upgraded using prayer beads collected from slain bosses. Once 4 are collected, a prayer necklace is produced, and the player can use this to drastically enhance Sekiro's vitality and posture. Attack power can also be enhanced using memories. Memories are Sekiro's recollection of battles with extraordinarily fearsome foes, and when confronted at an idol, your attack power will increase dramatically. However, even with all of this power, death is all but certain in the land of Ashina.
Of course, the game isn't titled Shadows Die Twice for nothing. Death and resurrection are the main mechanics of this game and its ultimate selling point. Upon death, Sekiro will be given the option to resurrect, provided you have at least 1 resurrection cell available. You'll begin with a single cell, but you can unlock more throughout the game. Resurrecting will respawn you immediately where you fell, with incredibly low health, but it will give you a second chance to get back into the fight or get the fuck out of there. Be wary though, as dying and resurrecting too often will plague many of the people of Ashina with the illness known as Dragon Rot.
A horrible sickness that makes those afflicted cough up tainted blood as they wither away. Dragon Rot will also prevent you from completing the side quests associated with the afflicted NPCs. To avoid such consequences, making a quick escape can sometimes be your best option, but that's not always possible in every scenario. Inevitably, death will find you. When it does, you'll respawn at the last sculptor idol you rested at. Unlike other Souls games, money and experience is permanently lost upon death and cannot be recovered, further instilling the demand to be cautious on your journey and never allow yourself to become complacent. There is one little thing I want to mention when it comes to the resurrection mechanic though. As I talked about earlier, you can gain more than 1 resurrection cell, which will allow you to resurrect multiple times in combat, provided you have more than 1 cell available. However, this mechanic does not apply in boss fights, probably the time you're going to need it the most. Against regular enemies, you can die and resurrect as many times as you have cells, but during boss battles, you arbitrarily need to land a killing blow after a death in order to be able to resurrect again, regardless of how many cells are available to you. This, in my opinion, is a terrible mismanagement of the game's main selling point. While it is not a detriment to the game, it makes the act of unlocking more cells feel almost redundant. I can only hope this is handled better in any sequels.
Staying faithful to the Souls style of gameplay, Sekiro maintains its emphasis on exploration and interaction with the world and its NPCs to uncover the truth about the darkness that plagues Ashina. Environments are rich with all-encompassing detail that pulls you in and immerses you into the doomed and twisted world in which you persist. Though the subject matter is very much fantastical, you can't help but feel as though the land of Ashina could have once truly existed, with the developers at From Software doing an amazing job as always with breathing life into their settings. The beautiful vistas and looming structures give credence to the majesty of a world plunged into chaos and surrounded by myth. Items found throughout the world will reveal the past of this land through their cryptic descriptions, never giving away too much, but just enough to intrigue you to delve further into the mysteries of Ashina.
The NPCs found throughout the land are the perfect complement to such a place as well, fitting in perfectly and each of them having their own complex goals and motivations. Some will aid you, such as Emma, who will allow you to upgrade your healing gourd, or the Sculptor, who can build many different prosthetic weapons. Many others want you dead, however, such as the aforementioned Lord Genichiro Ashina. Some will even require your aid, and others will simply remain enigmas unto themselves. Looking at you, Ishin. There are also merchants who sell different types of items to you, depending on which one you visit, as well as other random NPCs which can range from spectacular spooky to downright strange. Regardless though, each and every one of these NPCs is just as much a fitting part of this world as the bedrock from which it is built.
While the soundtrack is what we've come to expect from a Souls game, it perfectly captures the tone of the setting. The audio design itself is a masterful work to behold. Enemies sound grotesque and threatening, instilling dread within you as their scornful moans and roars pierce your ears. Combat sounds are heavy and impactful, with clashing metal, hissing sparks, and flames all expertly mixed to make the experience even more gratifying.
So, with Sekiro being the superstar that it is, it'll be taking home 3 awards this year, namely the Best Action-Adventure Game of 2019, the Best RPG of 2019, and the Midnight Wight Award, making it my personal favorite game of 2019.
I didn't play much of this game, but I will say this. It's a lot of fun if you like difficult games, because this game does not hold your hand.
Do I really need to go on? Basically what I'm trying to say is, they did it again! From Software did it again! They've created yet another masterpiece of enthralling gameplay and epic storytelling that is sure to leave you broken but begging for more. Yeah. Fucking step on me, Sekiro. Hurt me more! Contained within is almost every beloved element of a franchise so renowned it has its own genre. It's a perfect remix of Dark Souls gameplay, albeit cranked up a few notches. It has the most satisfying hack-and-slash combat in any game I have played to date, and I am just hoping with all my souls that this epic game will receive a sequel. Or, at the very least, some of its elements will be reworked into other games in the future. You owe it to yourself to play this game if you've been a longtime fan of the Soulsborne series, but be warned, it's relentless and punishing, but when you prevail, you'll feel immortal.
Think I don't know how to do that? Oh! Okay, we're fine. Oh, we're not. Run! What the hell is that? I didn't scream, you screamed.
Number 2, Outer Wilds. It's difficult to find the right words to describe Outer Wilds. It's gonna be hard to talk about this one. Since it's such a rich experience, the only way to grasp it is to play it for yourself. Mobius Digital has outdone themselves with Outer Wilds. This first-person exploration adventure game will have you terrified of the dangers of the galaxy, yet yearning for its secrets, like a moth drawn to a flame. Fly through what looks to be a modest solar system on the surface, but quickly discover its depth as you probe each one of its planets. So excuse us, whilst we do our best to divulge as much information as possible, without spoiling the game, as it's one of those games that's, like I said, better experienced than told.
You'll start off on a planet. A planet very similar to Earth, and the first thing you'll realize right off the bat is that you're not human. Then, you will have the opportunity to go through a rigorous tutorial to learn the mechanics and find your space legs. Trust me, you want your space legs. In fact, it's best to take in as much information as possible in the beginning, because you'll be in for a wild ride. Being an astronaut ain't no joke. The tutorial is imperative for learning the basic structure of the game, and it does a fantastic job of not only educating, but enthralling you in the adventure that awaits you just beyond the atmosphere of Timberhearth.
Once you figure out the basics of the game, you'll quite literally launch towards whichever planet beckons to you. You'll be in control of your very own spaceship, complete with a boiler, a Chaos Emerald, and some fancy wood paneling. It's made of wood.
Who the fuck made this ship? Orcs!
Despite its Fred Flintstone foundation of floorboards in flight. Hey, that was fun to say. Good writing, us a week ago. Keep it up. As I was saying, despite its flimsiness, the ship flies and you've got many destinations to choose from, as the game is non-restrictive when it comes to traveling the solar system.
Each planet has its own mysteries to uncover, and this will be your primary goal in navigating the universe. During your adventures, you will be searching for the lost explorers that dared the void before your time. The first thing you'll realize very quickly is that you're in a time loop. Each time you perish, you return to the beginning of the loop before you took off. The next thing you'll notice is that you retain the information you've learned before you died. Your ship's computer saves the information in its logs, and it will always be available for you to access. The information you come across on each of the planets will be related to each other, and missing pieces of the puzzles you will encounter will be uncovered as you progress.
Well, with all this talk of planets, perhaps we should tell you a bit about them. Some of the more significant ones at any rate. With so much to delve into, it would be a disservice on our part to spoil it for you. No two are alike, and for your sake, we will only be exploring these planets at a surface level, meaning you'll have to get the game and get your spacesuit dirty if you really want to know what's up. It's just that kind of game, trust me. The planet you start on, Timber Hearth, is a very small-scale version of Earth, essentially, with similar gravity and oxygen levels. Almost every other planet will require your spacesuit. Next we have Giant's Deep, the ocean planet surrounded entirely by several storms that form tornadoes. It's easily one of the most intimidating planets in the galaxy. There's also the Ember Twins. These planets are both extremely close to the sun and run parallel to each other in their orbit, almost as if they are each other's moons.
Another planet is called Brittle Hollow, and, as its name suggests, its structural integrity has long been in ruin. Tread carefully, explorer. We can't forget the Interloper, which is a comet that has recently entered the galaxy and has plenty of its own secrets to uncover. If you can land on it, that is. Speaking of tough landings, good luck landing on the Sun Station without being cooked well done.
All we'll say about that place is, just don't.
But don't you need to go in there to uncover, the secrets?
Yesn't. This game is a wild ride from start to finish. You'll employ many different mechanics and quickly identify the developer's skill as all of these complex systems reveal themselves to work together beautifully. Mechanics such as gravity, flight, timed and randomized events, as well as teleporting both yourself and other things.
Like bread!
Shut up! I could have swore I just saw a moon there. Weird. Okay. One of the last things that we've somehow failed to mention until now is the whole plot. The story that is unfolding before you. The Nomai were a species that existed before you, and may hold the answers to why you're stuck in a time loop, so you best go search them out. And that's pretty much it for the gameplay. It's pretty much just looking for secrets, and discovering what these people were up to before you.
While I haven't played anywhere near as much of this game as Ark has, every second I spent with the game has had me breathless. It brings to light some of the very real dangers of space travel, as well as the foreboding majesty of the frontier that is the universe. After playing it, most other games in the genre seem watered down in comparison. I would love to see other games themed around space travel and exploration adopt some of the same mechanics and systems that are present here in the Outer Wilds.
Well, I'd like to proudly announce this game is the winner of multiple awards this year. It's the winner of the ArcDrifter award, meaning it was my favorite game of the year, and it also wins the Indie Game of the Year and the Puzzle Game of the Year. This was my favorite title this year, and it had me completely enraptured from start to finish. Even after the game ended, I found myself looking into Easter eggs and secrets that I missed to get every drip of content from this magnificent work that this art offered us. Go play this game.
Today I thought I heard something strange. I don't know. There's probably nothing. Nope. What the fuck? What the fuck? Did the fucking sun just explode? Holy shit! Edgar!
Honorable Mentions. Blair Witch. While not the first game based on the Blair Witch IP, the popular horror franchise made its comeback in 2019 with the much-anticipated video game simply titled Blair Witch. A first-person survival horror video game in the same vein as Outlast, players will guide Ellis Lynch and his dog Bullet through the Black Hills Forest on the search for missing 10-year-old Peter Shannon.
But, as you will soon discover, Ellis is being hunted by the malicious entity known by the townspeople to haunt the fabled woods, and soon he finds himself battling this all-powerful evil as well as his own sanity. With his PTSD slowly eroding his mind and chaos overtaking his investigation, make sure you keep your camera handy, your dog close by, and your flashlight charged at all times, for they will be the only friends you have on this perilous journey into the darkness. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Cal Kestis would like nothing more than to avoid the Empire at all costs and just live a humble life as a scrapper on Braca. However, this is Star Wars, and you're destined to go to war in the stars. Or with the stars. Are the lightsabers made out of stars?
Shut up, this is supposed to be the fast part of the review. This third-person Soulsborne style game doesn't quite have the same level of difficulty as the games from which it borrows heavily, unless you want it to. Throughout your adventure to master the Jedi arts, you will unlock many abilities befitting a Jedi and fight many intimidating and even some recognizable foes. Cal's journey will take you across several different planets in the Star Wars universe, such as Zepho, Kashyyyk, and Dathomir, each with their own challenges and enemies to face, each unique in their own regards. You'll find yourself anticipating with bated breath what's next to discover across the galaxy.
The Walking Dead, the final chapter. Clementine's endearing adventure finally comes to a close, and boy was the release messy. As per Telltale formula, The Walking Dead released in separated chapters. Everyone's greatest fear with that formula would be met come episode 2, as Telltale abruptly announced the closure of their studio, leaving even their own employees in the dark. It would be Skybound that would save the day and pick up the pieces of the captivating series.
The fact that it made its way to the list in any way should say to the outcome of that clusterfuck of a release. The third-person horror narrative would prove itself to be the perfect culmination to the acclaimed story, leaving Clementine's adventure in just the right spot. Once again, your decisions made in the game will determine what ending you get, and it'll be quick-time events that'll ascertain your fate.
Mortal Kombat 11. Well, there had to be a fighting game on this list somewhere, and this year we feel that Mortal Kombat took that mantle. Being the 1v1 style fighting game it is, Mortal Kombat keeps to its tendencies and is fluent and stimulating. Its rich universe and cast of characters once again manages to distinguish itself from many other titles in its genre. Mortal Kombat maintains the cinematic style that we've come to know over the past few entries and makes you truly feel like you're part of a Warner Brothers animated production.
Those are like 90% of the time amazing, by the way. It'll be a blast to play through the vast cast of characters miscast in the past. Get it? 'Cause it's a time-based story. Anyway, yeah, so Chronica wants to reset the timeline since this one's fucked. So naturally that's a problem for both the Earth realm and Outworld, not to mention all the other realms. You'll see some unlikely alliances forming as the story progresses, making for some very interesting scenes. As always, playing online will make you hate yourself, as you will never be as good as the other people playing. Jesus! What the fuck has happened to me? Ow! 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 Ow!
Fatality.
Void Bastards. If you're a fan of dying, this is the game for you. The void of deep space is as unforgiving as it is endless, and Void Bastards never lets you forget just how vulnerable you are. This first-person roguelike will have you quivering in your space boots as you turn each corner and scour each room and hallway. Dread will creep down your spine as you look for the necessary resources to not only survive, but to find a way to repair the FTL drive aboard the Void Ark, the intergalactic prisoner transport vessel. In doing so, you may just have a chance at parole and at pardoning the crimes you have committed.
But in order to taste that sweet freedom, you must first brave the horrors that lurk aboard each void ship you will visit in your quest. You will be able to use many different tools and weapons to accomplish this goal, but you will have to unlock them all first by collecting the necessary parts to build them. Certain pieces can only be found on certain ships, however, so be wary and be aware. As well, your character, stats, and the levels within the game are all procedurally generated, keeping the gameplay invigorating with an air of uncertainty, no matter how many trips into the void you undertake. Number 1. Resident Evil 2. Few remakes tend to live up to their predecessors. The only thing more terrifying than the creatures that stalk you throughout Resident Evil 2 is just how ghoulishly good this remake turned out to be. Horror in its own right and in the best way possible. Capcom, being the pioneers they are, have outdone themselves yet again in the modern era, bringing back a beloved horror title from the dead and managing to make it just as good. Enter the survival horror again as you take on the role of Claire Redfield and Leon, the S stands for sexy, Kennedy.
Oh yeah, let's sexualize him.
Our two heroes happen upon each other in the midst of an apocalyptic zombie outbreak in the town of Raccoon City. Claire has come to Raccoon City in search of her brother, STARS member Chris Shredfield. Yeah, let's sexualize him too. Leon, on the other hand, was about to begin his first day in the RPD. Unfortunately for him, it's going to be the worst first day ever. Before long, they find themselves working together to survive and ultimately uncover the cause behind the outbreak. So make each shot count, walk, don't run, and careful not to smoke your herbs too quickly. You're going to need all the help you can muster.
Naturally, this game plays in third person, much like most Resident Evil titles, and as stated before, it is in fact a survival horror game. However, that's where the similarities end and where the Resident Evil 2 remake vastly expands on the formula of previous games. As opposed to the static camera angles the original had, this game contrasts that with an over-the-shoulder view similar to Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. The rest of the game will play as you remember, for the most part. As one would expect, the PS1 style of gameplay does not translate efficiently into modern-day gameplay. So the formula of the game isn't exactly the same, and many scenes, areas, and events have been overhauled.
But in the best way possible, obviously. So for the uninitiated, when we say survival horror, we mean it's the kind of game where every shot counts, and using a healing item better be a life or death matter. So few are they. Unknown perils lie just beyond each doorway, and every corridor could carry you into the waiting jaws of the monstrosities that roam Raccoon City. Another key aspect of this franchise is the key hunting and puzzle-solving obstacles you will need to overcome using every ounce of thought juice your noodle can muster. These are the main elements that create the volatile concoction that is the Resident Evil formula.
As with the OG Resident Evil 2, you can choose to play through either Leon's story or Claire's at the beginning, and experience their respective struggles and viewpoints as they make their way through the undead nightmare. The stories take place directly alongside each other, with Claire and Leon occasionally meeting up along the way. I mean, like, very occasionally, especially compared to the original, where their interactions intertwine way more often, making for some truly memorable dialogues. Unfortunately, in the Resident Evil 2 remake, you almost forget about your companion Survivor, as they only interact but twice in their respective stories. Despite this, each campaign is no less enjoyable, as the main reason you will forget about your comrade is just because you're having too much goddamn fun. It's highly advised to play through it at least twice, once with each character, to understand the full plot and take in everything Resident Evil 2 offers up. And believe us, it brings offerings in abundance.
One such abundance is the tone and atmosphere of the setting. From the streets of Raccoon City, through the corridors of the RPD, and all the way to Umbrella's secret labs, a heavy aura of horror and hopelessness yaws at your heels and permeates every last bit and pixel of the game. Each and every area within the game is spared no detail, as each one has a seemingly handcrafted feel to it. There's no procedural generation here, folks. The atmosphere is perfected. The environments are littered with the signs of lives once lived out here, as well as the evidence of their struggles and demise. Bodies litter the halls and rooms. Most of them have risen to walk amongst the living once more. Windows are smashed and boarded, while doors and rooms are barricaded to keep intruders at bay.
Blood stains once pristine paint and tile, and many places that were havens are now undeniably unsafe. Lighting and sound are used expertly to craft a gripping and immersive horror experience that may leave you questioning your own reality after being exposed to such masterful work. The decay of what was once a proud and flourishing city is palpable in every way, thanks to the unparalleled efforts of the art and design team over at Capcom. Bravo on recreating the chilling tone of the original game, and turning that shit up to 11. Speaking of the original game, which had a much adored soundtrack in its own right, this game lived up to expectations with a very chilling soundtrack of its own. We'd like to give a nod specifically to the Mr. X theme. Would have been nice if they didn't lock the original soundtrack behind a DLC paywall with the deluxe edition. Just slap the WAV in there. Just put it in the game. You fucks.
Deluxe edition.
Shut up!
Perfectly complementing the surrounding world is the cast of foes you'll be pitted against in your struggle to survive. Obviously, most of the enemies we have come to know and love, make a glorious return in gorgeous 3D. All of their visible polygons are polygone, and now looking better than they ever have. The zombies themselves are now horrifyingly intimidating, and in keeping up with the game's more contemporary design, they have become significantly tougher and need multiple headshots to put down. Of course, zombies aren't the only threat to you, as the G-Virus has created an army of horrors in the wake of the outbreak. Lickers, as the name implies, will lick you so aggressively it'll shred your skin from your bones, their piercing tongues easily gouging and tearing through flesh, like a cat. Though blind as a bat, they are no less deadly, with their keen sense of smell and hearing, not to mention their insane speed. The dogs also return from previous entries, as well as some other mutations of the T and G virus, such as the plant zombies and the sewer blobs. However, this is but a few of the enemies you can expect to encounter, and there are still many other surprises that await you deep within the RPD and Umbrella HQ.
You won't be facing these threats empty-handed though. While ammunition is limited, there are plenty of weapons to make use of. You just have to use the right tool for the right situations. You will be given a pistol to begin with, and slowly collect other armaments during your playthrough. Some will differ between characters though. For example, Leon can acquire a shotgun while Claire cannot, instead getting her hands on a grenade launcher. Almost all of the weapons in the game can be upgraded in one form or another to offer you extra clip capacity, increased accuracy, or even change the firing patterns of the guns. These upgrades will ultimately make your weapon excel in their purpose, costing you less ammo in the long run. Which is an awesome thing in this game, for, as we've mentioned, ammo is sparse. But it doesn't have to be, as Resident Evil 2 also features some light crafting elements. You can find different types of gunpowder throughout the areas of the game, which will allow you to create different types of ammo for certain weapons.
While you will not be able to construct every type of ammo for every weapon, you will be offered more than enough gunpowder to ensure that at the very least, your main weapon will always be ready for action. In tried and true Resident Evil fashion, you will also be able to find and combine red, blue, and green herbs to create healing concoctions of varying potency. Blue herbs in particular will be able to cure you of poison as well as give you damage resistance when mixed properly. Make sure you smoke your herbs, they're important.
Resident Evil 2 is our #1 game of 2019, and thusly so it deserves the most prestigious award we have to offer, the Project Supervillain Game of the Year Award. And on top of that, it also wins the Best Horror Game of the Year. Horror is a very underappreciated genre, and I honestly wish other Game Awards ceremonies would bring them to light more, because there's so many amazing ones out there. Resident Evil 2 provided the best horror experience of 2019 by far. I was actually fairly taken back by how disturbing some of the enemies sounded and looked, and more than a few times found myself pissing my pants. Not only that, but the game provided such a fantastic and replayable campaign that I've truly adored.
This was such a huge nostalgia trip for me, and as a fan of the earlier games in the series, I was already 100% on board for this remake. But Resident Evil 2 also managed to pique my interest with everything new I would encounter. It's hard to imagine being able to capture lightning in a bottle twice. To create something feeling so similar yet so engrossingly neoteric that even veterans would have new mysteries to uncover is a feat of genius. And I for one am not shocked that Capcom managed to do the impossible. We firmly believe, for all these reasons, that the #1 game of the year is Resident Evil 2.
It's just a casual fire over here.
Yeah, the helicopters crashed in the side there.
Oh yeah, just a casual helicopter. Sorry.
A casual helicopter crash.
Nice. Alright, we're not gonna walk into the fire. Cool. Builds a fire. Hey, I'm a firefighter now.
There you go.
I'm a cop and a firefighter.
Right? You're doing 2 jobs at once. Bastards. How dare they be dead not doing their jobs? There you go.
Oh.
X gon' give it to you.
Hey guys, it's X. I think he's gonna give it to me.
Well guys, that's the show. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for liking, following, and subscribing to the project. If you really want to help us out, come check out our live streams Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on either Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, and go check out some of our other content. We have more game reviews, top 10s, and Let's Plays to enjoy, as well as a plethora of EDM videos to jam out to.
Let us know down in the comments what your top 10 games of 2019 would be, and we'll see you guys in January for our own awards show that we're calling the 2020 Project Supervillain Gaming and Music Awards Show, or GAMAs for short. But that's it for today, guys. Stay awesome, everyone.
Right. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching.
Project dismissed. Catch you guys later.
Peace out.
Yeah. Bye.